Welcome, everyone. This is the No Strings Podcast with your boy, Rell Simon. Let's go. Let's get into it. This podcast is about money, finance, saving, investing, retirement, life. We're going to get into it, you guys. I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Thank you to my family, my friends, my church family, coworkers, everybody, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. I'm just excited right now to be able to create and do something like this. Unprecedented. Something I never would have thought I'd be able to do or thought about doing in general. But I'm ready to go. I am ready to go. Woo! I am ready to go. I'm ready to go. And so this is the No Strings Podcast, where we talk about finance, which has been a big part of my life over the past few years. Things that I've been through, the accomplishments that I have accomplished. And you guys all know my story by now. 2017 at a low point, swimming in debt, just a bad situation. And I chose to get out of it thanks to YouTube University, reading, podcasts, articles, videos, blogs, so many different personalities and everything. And I was in that hole, man. Again, almost $60,000 in debt. And it was tough. Very, very hard. But I was able to get out of it. I was able to pay off that $24,000 in credit card debt. Man, I remember those days, $9,000 credit card balance. And when it's time to pay the bill with the credit cards at 25% interest, it's like $190 on top of that, $9,000. And it was just stressful. Let me put some money over here, or let me put this balance over here. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. And my money was just going in so many different directions. And I'm sure that's the same way for a lot of people nowadays. It's one-click shopping, social media, all these subscriptions we have. Your money's going in so many different directions. It's hard to stay focused and stay on track. And it's hard to save money. Trust me, there's so many things out here. I'm even guilty right now, shopping on Amazon and things like that. And I'm not perfect. I'm still learning every day. I don't expect everyone to be perfect. But it comes a time where you need to have a plan and you need to get from up under whatever you may be under. And if you don't have debt, or if you're almost done paying debt, there's so many other things, other avenues of being able to build your nest egg that's so important. Because in 20 years, the value of the dollar, you think about inflation, things are going to cost more. You're just going to need enough money to last you for your last 25 to 30 years. If you retire at 60, if you retire at 65, or if you retire at 70, who knows? But it's so important that you save money. It's so important that you invest. So important that you just instill good money habits, not only to yourself, your spouse, your children, what have you. And I'm here just to give some pointers along the way. And I'm excited. I'm ready to get into it. And one other thing about the podcast is that we're going to be talking about no strings moments. I keep saying it. There are no strings on me. No strings this, strings that. And I actually got it from the Avengers movie, Avengers Age of Ultron, where the villain of the movie Ultron, voiced by James Spader, he comes on near the end of the trailer. He says, "There are no strings on me." I just thought that was like cool, like a little tagline. And I've just been running with that for a while now. And that was my moment of no strings, being debt free. So I do plan on having guests come onto the podcast, talk about their no strings moments, which are moments in your life where you felt accomplished, free, unburdened anything in your past, your present, or your future. So if you listen to this right now, you never know when you'll get tapped to come on in and join the fun and join this party. But you'll be asked about those no strings moments. And in my head right now, I'm thinking about the people I want to have on. Of course, the hometown heroes, the people that I know, the friends and family, and be able to bring on these guests because they come from different walks of life and they have different sort of personalities and different skills that they can bring to the table. But at the same time, I can learn about money from them. They can learn about money from me. And it's all good and good. Being able to talk about their specific traits, being able to talk about the things that they're doing in their lives and the things that they're learning and seeking for. And so it's very exciting. But those are the future episodes. This episode right now, of course, is the first episode, no strings, with just me. You guys just have me right now. It's okay. It's okay. And so we're going to get into an excerpt apart from my first article. I also write articles on medium.com, rellsimon.medium.com. I write about finance, mostly on there. Also mostly about some life tips, but mainly about finance. And I've been doing articles monthly. I think this podcast in general will probably be released on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. And so my very first article, I laid everything out, my whole story, how I got out of debt and the things I was going through. And near the end of the article, which is quite lengthy, but near the end of the article, I offered some advice. And I offered 5 different bullet points of advice. And to preface, I'm in no way, shape, or form a professional financial advisor. So do your own due diligence, hire a financial advisor. This is all opinion based. It's all just advice to help you get the ball rolling, to help you start thinking about finance. Or if you're already thinking about it, some tips or some nuggets to fit in there that you may not have known about or may need a refresher about. So the 5 points, I kind of titled them as number 1, review. Number 2, grind time. Number 3, there are no strings on me. Of course, here we go again. Number 4, situational saving. And number 5, living your legacy. So let's get into that right now. Let's get into those 5 points. Number 1, review. So when I say review, I'm talking about doing a review of your life, where you are right now currently. Do you have a job? Do you have kids? Or do you have multiple jobs? Are you taking care of someone or taking care of your parents or what have you? Do you have a side hustle? Well, what else are you doing? You really have to sit down and write things down. I think if you're listening to this right now, if you're at home, just take out a piece of paper. Write down your annual salary or write down how much money you may be making or taking home every month. Then on the other side of the paper, write down how much you owe. Dig deep. If you owe Uncle Joe $5, write it down. But obviously you want to list your debts, maybe your car, student loans, credit cards, personal loans, any type of debt that you have. Maybe you owe some taxes or something. And you can also put your home down there, but your home is a bigger purchase where that just requires more time and effort. So that's on a separate little space. So you can probably put your home down there and maybe you just draw a circle on it, whatever. But you really want to focus on those other debts. The house, the car, excuse me, not the house, but the car and the credit cards. And you really want to take a look and see what you can do. Put everything out there and look at it and say, hey, I may owe this much, or me and my spouse may owe this much. But it's possible we can try to get this out of our lives. Because trust me, I know. I don't like paying bills. I don't like paying X, Y, and Z. And debt is just another bill on top of everything else. You think about all your general bills. You need a roof over your head. You need to pay the water bill, light bill, heating. You need to um, pay for maybe daycare. Of course, you have to eat, so you have to buy groceries. And also, sometimes you want to save for vacation and splurge or what have you. But it's all those extra things, those things that you really can't eliminate that will help free up some money. That's credit cards, student loans, X, Y, and Z. And in terms of your talents and gifts, you can turn those into a possible side hustle, right? I know for me, I'm an artist, graduated from Drew University in 2010. Although art isn't my career, I've done a few sip and paint parties, and I've made a little bit of cheddar from doing the sip and paint parties as a side hustle, and I've been at art shows and whatnot. I've made some money from art shows and things like that. And even this side hustle, this whole writing about finance and podcasts, this is more like an extension of creativity per se. Who knows what it can blossom to? Maybe it can blossom into something lucrative financially. But yeah, for right now, I'm just riding this wave. But you want to look at who you are because everyone is different and see how you can monetize that to help boost your income so that you can accelerate paying down any debt that you have. Because it's so hard. Like when you're paying minimum payments on something, yes, you can pay that down, but it just takes so long. You pay the minimum payment. If we go back to that $9,000 credit card example for me, if the minimum payment is only like $150 or something like that, or maybe it's $100, it would take just a long time. $9,000, $100 a month, that would take in a ballpark of what, 90 months, right? And then that's not including interest that tax on every so often. In 90 months, that's a long time. That's a long time. So that's really something you have to think about. Think about having a positive net worth for yourself and what your future could look like. Seek out an accountability partner. Use your gifts and your talents to bolster your financial standing. And of course, pray about it. It's a tough battle. I've been through it. I know it's tough. It's crazy. Paid off $60,000 in 3.5 years. And personally, I felt like I could have did it a little faster, but I still got it done anyway. But don't let time stop you. You definitely want to accelerate this, but don't let time hamper you. Oh my God, it's going to be so long. I'll never get through it. Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. You will. Don't worry about it. So, number 2, grind time. This is where you need to go and keep paying your bills. If you go to church, keep paying your tithes, keep paying those basic necessities, and use all your other money to take care of all this other stuff. A lot of experts like to use the snowball method, which is you put your debts in smallest to largest, and then you pay off the small debt and keep going and keep going. Once you pay off the small debt, you work on the next one and then the next one on the next one. Some people use the avalanche method where you take down the debt that it has the highest interest rate and you work from there. Whatever your plan is, you start to get the ball rolling on it so you can take care of it, get it out of the way. Before you kind of do that, though, you do need a fallback. You need some money in case something happens. You need some money for an emergency. And you can Google and read all of the articles out there. A lot of Americans don't even have enough money to cover a $500 emergency, a $1,000 emergency. I think for you, just do a baseline of maybe have $500 or $750 or $1,000 probably for each person in your household. Maybe it's like a family of 4. Hey, you might need $2,000 or $3,000 just to hold on to the side in case something happens, car breaks down or child gets sick or what have you. And then you start to go back and you just go ham, like literally grind time. Just take care of it, pay it all down, Go as far as you can. And it's hard. Sometimes you're going to have to say no to stuff. Those happy hours, that trip to the mall. You may have to wait a little bit on a vacation or whatnot. Or if you do end up going on vacation, it shouldn't be as extravagant. Find something within your means because you still have to stay focused. And you just keep going and you keep going until you become free, until you hit step 3, which is there are no strings on me. And when you get to that point, you can be like, hey, there are no strings on me, baby. I'm good. I did all of this. I freed myself of this burden. I got things going. I'm debt free. May still owe money on the house, but like I said, that's a bigger investment, or that's a long-term play where you need to pay off. It's hard for somebody to pay off a house in like 1 or 2 years, right? Unless you've been saving for a long time. But that's the next sort of piece. Because you're debt free, you can focus on the house, but also you can focus on things like retirement, because you'll be able to save more money in chunks towards retirement, into your 401k, into your Roth IRA, traditional IRA, into your, money market accounts, or into your investment accounts. And that's where you can really learn about this sort of next wave, investing, real estate, all these different avenues of wealth building. And for me, it's not like, oh my God, I mean, I'm not swimming in money. While I was paying off debt, all my money was tied to paying this card and this card and this card. The money was going every different direction. Now that I finished that, my money's still tied to, or almost tied up, but it's just in different places. It's just in different places. It's into investing. It's in the real estate. And so that's the important key about it. You keep the momentum going and you want to build your wealth. You finish the debt part, but you want to build your wealth and keep on going. So the next one, step 4, is situational saving. And this is so variable. Maybe you want to save for a marriage. Maybe you want to save for a home. Maybe you want to save for your child's college education. Maybe you want to save for vacations or travel. Maybe you want to move out of the country, move out of the state. I don't know. Maybe you want to move to the moon. I mean, whatever you want to do, just save it for it and then just go. Or maybe you want to save up for a new toy, like a bike or a boat or a spaceship. I don't know. If you are going to the moon, if you go to the moon, let me know, or take some selfies up there while you're at it, whatever. I don't know. Maybe you want to save it for a business, whatever you want to do. And then step 5, living your legacy. Maybe by this point, you pay off your homes, you're growing your businesses, you're donating to charities, you may be giving more to your church and doing other things. It's kind of like each one teach one. Like once you get to that point, once you get to that top point where it's like, oh my God, I'm rich, I'm swimming in money, or I'm accomplished enough where I build up my net worth a lot. You have to be able to educate and teach other people to do the same as you, so that they can be on the same level as you. And that's all it is. You're learning each and every day. Some of the stuff I just talked about, you probably already know. Some of the stuff is probably a refresher. Some of the stuff you probably already know because you read my article, rellsimon.medium.com, blah, 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 blah. But it's just key that every day you're still learning and growing, just like I am, still like learning and growing. To go from 4 years ago in a bad spot, being able to get out of it, and then being debt free earlier this year, 2021, March 2021, and then started writing articles. And all of a sudden, doing this podcast. And shout out to my boy Ed at Dreams by Any Means on Instagram, and his podcast, Dreams by Any Means Podcast. We recorded an episode 2 weeks ago, and it was great. Just having a straight up conversation and just talking. And as I'm recording right now, I'm kind of looking at the timer on the platform that I'm on, anchor.fm. Anchor.fm/no strings with Rell will be the landing page for my podcast episodes. And you'd be surprised how far you can kind of go and just straight up talking. How much time can just pass by. We had a podcast and we went for 40 minutes and it felt like 20. But it was so exciting. It was so exciting to just record and talk and do something that I'd never done before. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of my boy Ed. I'm proud of everybody. And thank you to everybody that's been supporting me, giving me advice and just words of encouragement and things like that. And I'm just excited for everybody because it doesn't matter how many people this podcast reaches. This podcast will reach us. People that's listening right now, this podcast is going to reach us. And like I said, if you're listening right now, there's probably a chance you could be a guest on the podcast. And I'm excited to talk to you guys. I'm excited to delve into these different topics because it's a brave new world out there, as most of us are adults or young adults. Or some of us getting ready for retirement, or some of us finishing school, grad school, or what have you. And it's an exciting time right now because I'm excited about investing in dividends. It's just a whole new world that I didn't even know about. And I'm excited to share with you guys. And so that's what this podcast is about. And like I mentioned earlier, at the end of or near the end of each podcast, talk about that no strings moment, specifically with the person that I'm recording with. And it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what those moments are because everybody has those moments in their life where you become free from something. And we're definitely going to get into it. And like I said before, my no strings moment was becoming debt free. But now the work, it's not done yet. I still got some things I got to do. You know, I'm single, no kids, but I want to be a husband. You know, want to have children, get a house eventually. I don't know where because this market, I live in DC and the DMV area is just nuts. And so, houses around the corner from me are selling at $700,000. Condos starting at $300,000. There are new townhomes. I just saw right over on Riggs Road by the Walmart, $600,000. It's like, oh my gosh. And for me, I kind of want to save a 20% down payment, but man, do you guys know what 20% of $600,000 is? That's $120,000. And so that's a lot of money. In my head, I'm just thinking, maybe I should just live a condo life and just give me something for $200,000. Still with a 20% down payment, that's still $40,000. So home buying is just a whole new avenue that it's a little scary. And it's a little bit of uncertain territory, especially around this area, because it's just crazy around here, just like New York, just like San Francisco. And I just know that there's some magic numbers that you need if you want to retire, if you want to live those last 20, 25 years of your life without having to work, y'all. So we're going to get into that. Talk about investing, home buying, retirement. We're going to get into all those things. We're going to have some guests on. I'm just excited. Just so excited right now. And that's all I have for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. Can't wait to do another podcast episode of episodes. Again, I may be dropping monthly. And in terms of my socials, on Twitter, I'm at Filipino_Rell. On Instagram, I'm at KicksOnCanvas_artistry. My art website is www.rellsimonart.com. I also write on medium.com, rellsimon.medium.com. And of course, this podcast is recorded on anchor.fm. So you can go to anchor.fm/no strings with Rell. That would be the podcast homepage. But this podcast will also be available on wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Google Play Store, Apple Podcasts. So again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much for listening. I'm ready to get into these topics, ready to talk to these guests, ready to get into it. Thank you once again. This is me, Rell Simon, signing off on the No Strings Podcast.